Pay very close attention to what I'm about to say. Never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, should you ever buck Trump.
These senators are going to have to make a decision as to whether they want to buck Donald Trump.
Even Lindsey Graham from South Carolina came out sort of, not in favor of, but not against Matt Gaetz. He originally came out and said, I don't know about Matt Gaetz. I'm going to have to think about that one. Which fun fact would be the first time Lindsey Graham ever thought about anything. Well, he's done some thinking, apparently, because he got cornered by reporters and he said this.
Nobody should be disqualified because of a media report.
It's an investigation.
Investigated by the department. He wants to leave.
Bipartisan ethics investigation.
And they didn't proceed forward.
And they didn't proceed forward. Ford, which is, to me, Ford is a pickup truck, but to Lindsey Graham, it's a direction. There's Packard, Ford, Chevy, Ford. That's Lindsey. Anyway, Lindsey Graham said, look, nobody should be disqualified because of a media report. And the stupid media is there going, well, it was more than a report. It was an investigation. He goes, yeah. And they didn't move forward, meaning they investigated and said, gosh, there's really nothing here. We're going to leave. Well, it's like one time my wife and I we came back from Atlantic City when we were living in New Jersey, and we were having fun and we were yelling and it was, we were hanging out. And then all of a sudden the cops showed up and I go, can I help you? They go, yeah, we got a cause of a domestic disturbance. And I said, oh no, that was my wife and I. We just got back from Atlantic City. We won big and we were having a good time. They go, oh, okay, nothing to see here. And they left. Am I being accused of a domestic disturbance? No, they investigated. Wasn't nothing there. Also, I think they took one look at me. They're like, this guy is not a threat to anybody. So today, Matt Gaetz, flanked by Vice President-elect J.D. Vance and Secretary State-to-be Senator from Florida, Marco Rubio, he went back to Congress. He went back to the Senate and he met with senators and he spoke with senators and he rallied senators. He's not hiding from anybody. You know, Matt, that's the thing. A lot of Democrats or a lot of other Republicans would hide. They're like, well, I'm not going to go. I'm going to keep quiet. I'm going to wait for my confirmation hearing. Matt Gaetz walks right in the door. He goes, here I am. I got JD. I got Marco. Here we go. Let's go. What do you want to know? What can I tell you that will help ease your fears? What can I tell you that will help ease your mind about what's happening with this nomination and what I'm planning to do when I become Attorney General of the United States of America? Lindsey Graham posted on his X, I had a very good meeting with President Trump's nominee for Attorney General Matt Gaetz and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. I'm committed to allowing the process to go forward in a manner consistent with past practices and fundamental fairness. I can't talk like this I just can't do it. This process will not be a rubber stamp, nor will it be driven by a lynch mob. My record is clear. I tend to defer to presidential cabinet choices unless the evidence suggests disqualification, which means he's going to defer to the president. The president chose him. Okay, I'm going to defer to the president unless, of course, there's some blaring, in your face, big bright light slapping you around going, no, this guy is horrible. And the only thing that we see right now is that the media and the left are saying this guy's horrible. And I'm going to be honest with you, that to me is a feather in Matt Gaetz's cap. I fear the process surrounding the Gaetz nomination is turning into an angry mob, and unverified allegations are being treated as if they are true. I have seen this movie before. I would urge all of my Senate colleagues, particularly Republicans, not to join the lynch mob and give the process a chance to move forward. He likes the word. He likes to use forward. After years of being investigated by the Department of Justice, no charges were brought against Matt Gaetz. This is something we should all remember. No charges. Fun fact. Here's what you need to know about Matt Gaetz. No charges were ever brought against him for anything. Period. Like, what more is there to discuss? No, accusations are totally different than charges. Investigations not moving forward are investigations that are basically moving backward. It is preposterous, and it's typical how the media reacts. But CNN, I'm going to be honest with you, CNN actually had a guy on who I thought spoke fairly well about the situation. Jim Acosta had this dude, I don't know the guy's name, but Fake News Jim Acosta had this guy on CNN, and he asked him, he goes, is it time for President Trump to withdraw the Matt Gaetz nomination? Listen to this.
Are these allegations enough Do you think for the Trump team to, sort of pull back on this Gaetz pick? I mean, at this point, is it a little too much at this point to push forward?
No, I don't think so yet. I mean, I always go back to the Washington Post reported out that there was witness credibility problems. That's what the Justice Department cited when they said they weren't going to go after him on this stuff. And I think it's important in a country that says you're guilty or you're innocent until proven guilty that we should take that into consideration. And so the Ethics Committee is going to do what they're going to do tomorrow. I personally think, they don't really have a history of putting these reports out there. So I think it would be kind of a surprise and a little bit of a break to their credibility if they put it out there. But really, at the moment it's going to go to the Senate, one way or another, it is heading towards the Senate, and these senators are going to have to make a decision as to whether they want to buck Donald Trump. And oftentimes when lawmakers buck Donald Trump, it doesn't usually work out so well for them. But that's where I see it headed.
Yeah. Don't buck Trump.
Buck Donald Trump.
If you buck Trump, you're going to it's not going to work well for you. You Trump buckers.
Buck Donald Trump.
Any politician, whoever bucks Trump knows that they end up getting bucked themselves. This is what happens. You don't buck Trump, especially when we go back to the fact that the people overwhelmingly chose Donald Trump to do this job, and Donald Trump chose Matt Gaetz. And if you want to buck him, if you buck Gaetz, you buck Trump. And if you buck Trump, you better be getting your curriculum vitae out. You better be checking your LinkedIn profile and make sure that you're ready for that private sector job.
Buck Donald Trump.
For every detractor that comes out and says Matt Gaetz is a horrible person, there are other people who worked with him in Congress, his colleagues, his allies, people that he sat on committees with, people that he served in caucuses with. And these people are coming out and they're saying, look, Matt Gaetz is perfect. There's nobody better. One of them is Jim Jordan, who was the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, which Matt Gaetz sat upon. And he said, as far as the committee goes, anybody who saw Matt Gaetz knows this is the job that this guy was born to do.
What I know about Matt Gaetz is he served on our committee as one of the most talented members of Congress. I mean, your viewers know this. If you watch Matt Gaetz in a cross-examination in committee, one of the most talented guys I've ever seen.
Yeah, you better be ready.
He does his homework. He comes prepared. Right. I think he'll bring that same attitude as Attorney General. And as I said before, he's going to fight for the American people. He's going to focus on what the Justice Department should focus on. Here's another example. In the run-up to this past election, the Civil Rights Division at the Justice Department was going after Glenn Youngkin because he was simply cleaning up the voter rolls and saying if you're a non-citizen, you shouldn't be voting in our federal elections. We had the same thing happen in Ohio. The Civil Rights Division sends our Secretary of State the same letter and says you got to stop cleaning up your voter rolls and taking non-citizens off the voter rolls. Matt Gaetz is not going to be engaged in that kind of activity if he's our Attorney General. That's what I know, and that's why President Trump nominated him for the position.
By the way, that was Maria Bartiromo coughing. That wasn't me. I'm perfectly. Something's wrong. Something's going on with Maria Bartiromo. Someone's got to get her a cough drop or a Halls or something like that. But Matt Gaetz is the guy. Matt Gaetz is the one. And he's right. He brings up a great point about Glenn Youngkin and how the DOJ was fighting him for taking illegal aliens off the voter rolls. Can't do that. You can't take illegals off the voter rolls. Why not? It's against the law for them to vote. Why should they be on the voter rolls? That's the kind of what everyone's excited about with Doge. We hear all these people. Elon Musk is great. And Vivek Ramaswamy is fantastic. And they're going to clean house and they're going to cut down government waste and spending. Okay, great. What they're going to do with the Department of Government Efficiency, Matt Gaetz is going to do with the Department of Justice. In fact, everybody that's being picked by President Trump is going to do exactly what Elon and Vivek are doing overall for the government. Pete Hegseth is going to go in. He's going to de-wokeify the Defense Department. He's going to make sure that they're not spending money on stupid stuff and they're only spending money on training the most lethal fighting force in the world. He's going to make sure they're dedicated not to, flight suits for pregnant women, but to, executing warfare, to fighting and winning wars with as little casualty as possible on either side. That's it. That's what the Defense Department's all about. When you look at Health and Human Services with RFK Jr., same thing. He's going to make sure that we're all safer, we're all healthier, and he's going to cut out the wasteful spending. And Matt Gaetz is going to go into the Department of Justice and root out the corruption, get rid of the lawyers who've been committing lawfare. And he's wholly qualified because, quite frankly, he just doesn't give a spit. Matt Gaetz does not care what anybody thinks of Matt Gaetz. And that's the kind of person you need in that job. Anna Paulina Luna from Florida got a little testy with a CNN reporter when he asked her about Matt Gaetz, and she gave a resounding recommendation on his behalf.
I've been able to get firsthand knowledge from the Department of Justice and FBI once they came out and acquitted Gaetz and actually dropped their investigation into him because they found that all those allegations, as you had just stated, were actually unfounded. You know, I really would appreciate it if networks would cover the fact that this was also tied to a $25 million extortion scheme against Matt Gaetz and his father. And to furthermore, you know, I find it interesting that these actual allegations come out at peculiar timing while he's being nominated to be the Attorney General. To be clear, I do think Matt Gaetz is going to be an incredible Attorney General. I think this baseless smear campaign, frankly, is abhorrent that it's happening to someone like Matt Gaetz, who's done so much to fight the government corruption. And there's a reason why President Trump won not just the popular vote, but also the electorate vote. Frankly, people trust President Trump's judgment more than any news outlet out there.
I mean, Hundo P. Anna Paulina Luna from Florida, Congresswoman. And look, there's two things that she brought up, which everybody needs to keep in mind. And if anybody comes at you about Matt Gaetz, if anybody comes at you with these bogus allegations, there's two things. Number one, President Trump was picked overwhelmingly by the people to fix the government corruption, and he's picking Matt Gaetz to do it. President Trump has all the political capital in the world. His bank account is full. His political capital looks like Harry's vault at Gringotts. That's how much political capital this guy has. He's been given by the electoral majority and the popular vote majority a mandate to fix all of the bad stuff. And there's nothing badder than the Department of Justice. And two, this DOJ investigation into Matt Gaetz was dismissed. There was an investigation. Nothing was founded. There was no proof. There was nothing that they thought needed to be addressed. And so they said, no, we're done. There were no charges filed. There was nothing but allegations. Tell me, who hasn't had allegations come out against them?
They didn't proceed forward.
Forward.